So, this is where we're at, right? Talking about anything related to the Vancouver Canucks, which includes what NHL.com predicted the Canucks lineup is going to look like this upcoming season. Francesco Aquilini's burner posted the graphics on the Canucks subreddit. Let's dive into this over here. NHL.com's projected Vancouver Canucks lineup. Here are the forward lines. They have Jake DeBrusk alongside of Elias Pettersson and Linus Carlson on the first line. The Ogren Rossi Besser line on line 2, which, there was a nickname for that, wasn't there? Did we call it something? The O-line? I'm not really too sure. Okay, I'm curious now. Ogren, Rossi, Besser. Let's see if there was like an article on The Province or something about that. The Bro Line! That's what it was called! The Bro Line! Ah, there you go. Why was it called the Bro Line? Oh, because B-R-O. That's why. Ah, that's amazing. The Bro Line. Yeah, we can keep the Bro Line together. I'm okay with that. Totally. Then on the third line, you have Drew O'Connor, Filip Chytil, and Jonathan Lekkerimaki, followed by Paul Cotter, Aatu Räty, and Brendan Gallagher on the fourth line. Now, honestly, this is not great. We understand that the Vancouver Canucks did not really build themselves a Stanley Cup contending caliber team with this forward core right off the hop. But I feel like Jonathan Lekkerimaki on the third line is kind of an interesting decision. It's one of these things where I feel like, would it not be kind of a waste of his talent to have him on the third line? Maybe I would rather see him on the first line with DeBrusk and Pettersson, if not on Ogren or Rossi's line. But then again, you don't want to break up the Bro Line. The Bro Line was pretty good. Paul Cotter on the fourth line is also something I have a reservation with. I would much rather see him somewhere in the middle six, either on that third line or maybe even playing center. Paul Cotter, I feel, if you want to have this guy as your in-house Kiefer Sherwood replacement, you're doing him kind of a disservice by playing him on the fourth line there. Aatu Räty also as the fourth line center, that doesn't really feel nice to me either. The fact that Filip Chytil is even mentioned on this roster is pretty optimistic, I would say. I'm not too sure if Filip Chytil is going to ever play a game in the National Hockey League again. Like, that's kind of judgmental to go out there and say, but I'm just being honest here, man. It doesn't feel like Filip Chytil is destined for really anything at the NHL level anymore. One more year left, 4.4 mil. I guess this is the time for him to prove it if he does have more than 12 games in his arsenal for this upcoming year. Aatu Räty on the fourth line feels kind of weird. Feels like you're kind of burying him. But then again, if Filip Chytil is unavailable, then maybe Räty is the guy to go up to line number 3. Brendan Gallagher on the third line, or the fourth line, excuse me. That makes sense. I mean, he's kind of there just for the vibes. He is more of a locker room leadership type presence. If I were trying to build out what I would ideally want to see, I'd probably have DeBrusk, Pettersson, Lekkerimaki. Carlson would go down to line 3. Cotter would be third line left wing, and then Aatu Räty would be third line center. I don't like necessarily the idea of playing Drew O'Connor at the bottom of the lineup because, as we did see earlier on last season, he actually is pretty good. Like, Drew O'Connor was underrated in the amount of production he provided the Vancouver Canucks. 17 goals and 29 total points. But at the end of the day, I feel like you want to trade this guy away. You want to give some other team the opportunity to capitalize on what was a great season for a guy who has 1 year left at $2.5 million a year. Drew O'Connor is that dude. And ultimately, I think the best version of the Canucks roster with a forward-thinking mindset put in place, the best version of that roster doesn't have Drew O'Connor on it. So that's just my thoughts here. Let's go over to the defense and talk about whom it is NHL.com has over there. They've got Zeev, Buium, and Filip Hronek. Okay, I like that. Jamie Oleksiak and Tom Wielander. I like that too. And then Elias Pettersson with Luke Schenn. Schenn probably goes in and out of the lineup in place for Vittorio Mancini, and then for goalies you've got Thatcher, Demko, and Kevin Lankinen. Man, does anybody still remember Thatcher Demko? Yeah, he's still a part of the team, and he is still a franchise figure for the Vancouver Canucks. Zeev, Buium, and Filippronic is nice. You're giving Buium essentially the Quinn Hughes treatment. Filippronic is going to be that veteran right-handed defenseman force to stabilize and progress his development. Jamie Alexiak and Tom Wielander, same thing, although to a lesser magnitude. If Wielander can develop some of those similar physicality traits that Jamie Alexiak provides, then I'd be pretty happy with that as a development curve to follow. Elias Pettersson and Luke Schenn, oddly enough, there's a pretty good pair over there too, because as we have known over the years with Luke Schenn and what he is able to provide any NHL team that he plays for, this guy, he doesn't take no crap. He hits, he takes penalties, he fights guys, he is a physical specimen, and Elias Pettersson is a guy that we have known over the past few years to have some sort of a snarly element to his game. Even back when Elias Pettersson was playing in the SHL, this guy was getting into people's faces. He was not afraid to scrum it up after the whistle if somebody was getting too close to his goalie. I think Luke Schenn would be a really nice in-house mentor for a guy like Elias Pettersson, just stylistically and physically. Schenn is 6'2", 225, Elias Pettersson 6'3", 209. In a way, I think all of these D pairs have some sort of value when it comes to the young guy on the pair, learning specifically what exactly it is makes the older guy click at the National Hockey League level. Filippronic is a power play quarterback who produces points. Zeev, Buium, best case scenario, he's doing that too. Jamie Alexiak, a big dude who blocks shots, he's very stable defensively, and he can get the puck up. Tom Wielander, best case scenario, he's doing that too. And then the same thing can be said about Elias Pettersson and Luke Schenn. Now, for the goalies, Demko and Lankinen, I mean, it was talked about on the R Canucks subreddit, but the fact that Demko is still on the team, the fact that Elias Pettersson is also being put in a prime position, it does put the Canucks in a pretty interesting spot, saying, hey, it would be such Canucks luck if Petey and Demko come back to all-star form just for the Canucks to miss the second wildcard and pick 16th overall. But this roster is so bad, I can't see the Canucks not being in the bottom three. And then another reply says, Petey and Demko returning to their past selves would be a bigger win for the franchise than first overall. Petey, sure, Prime Petey is a first overall caliber player. He's still first in his draft class for points after all. The assets you could get for flipping him would essentially make up for a slightly less efficient tank this season. But Demko going back to form doesn't really mean much for the long-term prospects of this team. He'd steal a lot of games, but you're still not getting a lot for him on the trade market. Really? I mean, if Demko is producing like 920-plus caliber save percentage goaltending, I would imagine that gets a lot at the deadline. I don't know. Either way, I have no issues with the way the NHL.com folks mocked up the Canucks decor and goaltending tandem. There are some reservations I have with the forwards, but you could let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all these names being placed where they are? I'd rather have Lekkerimaki and Cotter up. I'm not too sure about Filip Chytil. We'll see what happens, but you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 9. This doesn't even have any room for Braden Coots now that I'm realizing it. And bye.